Hey guys, so it's here bringing you another video, so welcome to the extra video of the day. Doing some OP.GG reviews. Again, I didn't really have a second video. I'm going to be focusing on recording Off-Roll to Diamond tomorrow on stream. And a bunch of people on stream today just said, hey, what about an OP.GG review? They're helpful, obviously, if you actually listen to the lessons and take them into account. A bunch of people that have had their reviews done have actually gained quite a bit from it. So I'm pretty happy with how they're going. So let's get on the go. So we're doing it for Twitch subscribers. What server is this fellow on? So he's on North America, so there we go. So we're doing it for Twitch subscribers on the Discord server. So if you are a Twitch sub, or if you're not, if you want to become one, that's kind of how we're finding them nowadays. It's very quick and very easy to do it that way. It's like instantaneous that I can get profiles, which is great. Can I make this go lower? I can a little bit. There you go. And I can make that go a little bit more like that. Perfect. Right. So we're starting on North America. It does seem that this is this person's... we're in Season 8, right? So this is second season. Last season, Bronze 4. So a little bit of an improvement. Obviously, negative win rate here. But a new ranked player, relatively. Again, one season in isn't, you know, nothing, it's hardly anything. So it's perfectly fine to be low rating in your first couple seasons. So changing everything to ranked. Support player. So obviously support, people do say potentially is the hardest role to climb in low rating. I agree and disagree. I agree if you're playing the stereotypical support, that you're playing something like, you know, Nami, for example, that you are very reliant on your bronze AD carry partner. But if you take the initiative and you play something that can carry, I don't think it's hard to climb in support at all. So we'll kind of see where things are tripping up. So as for some basics, as a support, there's just one thing that has instantly gone into my head: the control ward purchases. As a support, like again, this is a support brand. You've got the support item, support Lulu. That's mid lane, so that's, you know, not that bad. But all these games that you're playing support, not many control wards coming out. Again, a support probably should be buying quite a bit more than that. So that's just one thing off the bat we can mention. Kill participation actually seems pretty good. You know, in the 40s and 50s, again, we are adjusting this advice to a bronze, not just overall. So that's fine at this rating, perfectly acceptable. Alistar, I'd say, is pretty good if you do want to escape bronze as a support. If you're taking the initiative, you're going for good engages, because Alistar can practically win the lane by himself, and his AD carry can just pick off like the good stuff, what an Alistar's doing. So if we just go through item builds a little bit, I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary too much. The items that you're building are fine. In a Knight's Vow, Zeke's, obviously, Zeke's is, you know, situational. It's very good, obviously, if you've got somebody that can carry with your team, etc. But if we go into your actual champion list, again, how many games? So 425 games in total. So we are hoping not to see too many champions. And this is too many. So again, the old classic advice that happens in every video. So from 50 to 59, there are 9 losses there. Didn't mean to click that. There are 9 losses there that are for free. And again, we know that you're not ready playing these champions. You're playing them randomly because the KDs. 0-7, 11 deaths too high, 2-9, 0-8, 13 deaths, 9-9, 1-10. So that's just 9 free losses. Shouldn't be there. Same goes for up here. Basic advice that we do every time. It's just worth checking, because again, if you add up all this, there's 10 losses, there's 9, there's 19 losses that you shouldn't have lost, plus a Tryndamere, so 19 plus 3. So there's 22 plus 4 with your bad, like, not good Blitzcrank. So what was it? I can't remember. 23 was it? So again, rough math, 27. So there's 27 losses. If we just count, like, we're not going to count them. 27 losses, you know what that means. If you don't play those champions, you'll no longer be a negative win rate. So straight off the bat, we can just say that's something that you definitely need to take the advice of, is just don't play random stuff. As for champions that you should be focusing on, clearly you like Alistar. Perfectly fine to do so. I do think he's good to climb with. If you're taking the initiative, you're not playing really far back. Same goes for Leona. If you're the one that is engaging and making stuff happen, and you're not going in every time possible, if you're actually being calculating and when you're going in, really good. Like, I don't think they're bad champions at all. I will say a little bit high deaths, you know, 6.8, 5.7. Try to get those averages down to about 5 would be good. And then, you know, again, high deaths on Nami. High deaths on Rakan. So again, a lot of deaths happening here. Even in your non-support champions, you're Renekton, 8.9. So I think you potentially, just off the bat, again, I never can confirm this 100%. But if I had to guess, it would be that you're a very all-in player, and maybe you go all-in in times that you shouldn't. Because again, Brom down here, 11 losses, 1 win. You know, there is 11 losses that you could say, again, not really needed. If you're not very good at Brom, you should have dropped that. You know, after being 1 win and 3 losses, you should have just left that champion alone. And that would have, you know, potentially helped as well. So for me, my biggest advice, and again, there's no reason for me to overload you with advice because you just need to focus on the basics. And the basics, I think, for you is just limit that champion pool. I'd say that's too many champions. What, 59 champions? Too many champions if you want to escape bronze. And just focus on the champions you clearly are just better with. So your top 3 supports seem okay. Just limit those deaths. And then, you know, your Rakan doesn't seem too bad. Your Morgana doesn't seem too bad. So there's your supports. And you probably, if I had to say, should probably look to pick up another role properly. Is that there is, you know, top laners are scattered every now and then. Renekton's there, Rumble, Jax, but they're a bit random. You know, maybe have 1 or 2 dedicated top laners that you only play. But, you know, limit that. And my second piece of advice is the deaths. You really need to focus on dying less because the less you die, the less gold you're giving the enemy team. Therefore, the chance of winning goes up. So there you go. There is number 1 of today. Let me go grab another one. We got, what a name. We got Qui-Gon Jinn incoming. If he doesn't main Jinn, I'm going to be disappointed. He doesn't main Jinn. Oh, man. All right, so again, North America. We were, what were we, silver in Season 6, then actually down in Season 7, but back up to silver with what looks to be an all-time high relatively. Again, we will actually check this one on the graph. So, yeah, we were 56 LP a little while ago, last week. Back down to 1 LP, but that's fine. Still your highest division it looks like you've ever been in, so that's a good sign. Let's change this both to ranked and ranked. AD carrier player. So we're playing Misfortune. We've got Ezreal, we've got Ashe, we've got Tristana, we've got Jhin, and then a couple mid laners, which is good. Control wards, again, not that much of an issue, obviously, as a AD carry or carry type player in general. Again, every now and then it's good if you've got a spare slot, feel free. But what I'd say right now, if I had to just say something, is the amount of diversity that you're having is not going to make you consistent. Again, it's why I've always said I listen to some of the lessons that I teach, but don't always copy the way that I play. I play random champions and different champions every game because I'm a YouTuber. Is because having diversity in the videos day to day is kind of needed. I'm not a one-trick channel, so I'm known for having diversity. Like the other day, I uploaded 2 Shen games in a row. That's very rare for me to do. I think I did the same with Ezreal, but they were in different series. But with you, like there's 2 Ezreal games, but you know, Kog'Maw, Ezreal, then Ahri, Anivia, Zoe, Ashe, Veigar, Ezreal, Ashe, Misfortune, Ezreal. So there's no pattern. You know, there's a bit of Ezreal, sure, but there's no like practice of the same champion again and again. And again, you never have to one-trick, but what I'd want to see is, you know, 3 or 4 games of Ezreal in a block that you're just nailing your Ezreal, then 3 or 4 games of Misfortune in a block that you can just practice and get those mechanics crisp. And that's where you'll probably gain a lot of traction when you're doing those block games. Again, that's something that I would love to do if I wasn't a YouTuber. And I probably will do if I'm going to push a little bit in the final month of the season and I'm playing a little bit more off stream. I'll be doing block champions. I'll be playing the same champs in a block. Because that's how you get consistency. That's why some people say, oh, one-tricking is great. One-tricking, I'd say, isn't great, but it's very good for consistency. That is the good thing about it. Because you're playing the same champion every game, you're not doing anything different. It's the game that's changing, so your mechanics should be very good. So that's what I'd recommend you just straight off the bat, is try to get some block going of these champs. So that's, and again, worth noting is that you have had 3 days ago, pretty good games, but you had a 0-10 game, and it does look like you stopped. That's also really good. If you have a very bad game, make sure everybody out there watching this video, make sure you do stop, and you just take a break. You know, have a Kit Kat, not sponsored. If we look how many games you've played in total, so you've got around just under 500, and in 500 games, if you go ranked solo, in 500 games, we have 54 games, 54 champions. Again, the classic that we've always do. Again, there are 9 champions there that you've got to question. Should those games be even there? A 0-8 Rakan, a 7-10 Renekton, a 5-7 Jarvan, 2-11 Soraka. Always question that. Then we move up again, the classic. So there's another 10 losses there. Should those losses be there? Should you be playing something that you know to play? Would those be 10 losses if you played something else? You got 1-3 Annie, 3, and it gets a little bit better the higher we go. But it does seem, you're comfortable on certain things. Maybe recently you picked up Ezreal because of the change and, slightly negative win rate, but I wouldn't let that put you off. Again, my general rule, if you've got a negative win rate after 20 games, then maybe give it a miss. But that is very close. That's only 2 games. You get 2 wins on Ezreal, like you were even win rate until here. So I wouldn't let that put you off. Just be smart about it. You know you more than I know you. So just play it smart. But I would say of your top 5 champions, weirdly, there are 2 champions that are there that are at a lower position than I think they should be. Your 4th place Tristana and your 5th place Jhin. High deaths on Jhin, but your deaths are relatively high all around. Look at the gold averages on these 2 champions. They're higher and, well, on average, nearly. And these 2 champions have a higher carry potential than all of these 3. So potentially your Tristana would help you. Good stats, not a bad KDA, a little bit high deaths, but, farming okay as well. Jhin even better farm. And, there's Kai'Sa down here too. Your Kai'Sa, pretty good too. So maybe it's worth looking into having a bit more, variety with those. Because them having higher carry potential could just push you over the edge. And, in the final season of... final month of the season, maybe that would push you up to gold if you focused on directly carrying with those. Like Ashe, very immobile. If you have a bad game on her, you have a very bad game on her. Ezreal, he's great. You'll see an episode of him upcoming on Climb to Master that I play, that we played like a god, and he can do very well, but he's just very hard sometimes. Misfortune, I like Misfortune, as people know, but again, immobile. If you're having a bad game, you have a very bad game. Where Tristana, you've got your jumps. Jhin, you're relatively in the back line, so you shouldn't get caught that much. And Kai'Sa's, well, Kai'Sa, she's the strongest AD carry in the game right now, so maybe that's worth doing. It does seem your second role is a little bit mixed, that you've got some mid laners, you've got some top laners, which isn't anything wrong. Playing 3 roles is perfectly fine. Again, that's what I kind of do. And it does seem that your Malzahar, I wonder if, I might have had something to do with that, which is a great pick. High deaths, though. As again, especially for Malzahar. Malzahar is a champion that's very good at not dying. But I'd say even with Malzahar, a lot of Malzahars, I think even I do, have a negative KD. You can have a positive KDA because your assists, but a lot of Malzahars have a negative KD, your kills to your deaths. That's not that bad on Malz because you're so vulnerable when you're ulting. You'll probably die a lot, but if you start a team fight ulting an AD carry in late game, it's worth your death. That's why. So Malz is good. Veigar, I never recommend Veigar for those in solo queue because he takes too long to actually make an impact. Can have a very good one, obviously, but it's really long for him to kind of show up. By the time he's like, I'm Veigar, the game could just be over. So on the fence about that one. And then in your top lane, your Nasus is there. It's slight positive win rate. Your Alawi slight negative win rate. So I'd say maybe in the again, your Darius actually seems okay. Just again, very high deaths. So we need to limit those deaths. So what I want you to do over the next couple of weeks when you're in these ranked games, if it's one of those situations and you have to think while you're playing, again, don't be an autopilot. I'm going to die if I go for this. Back off. Again, unless it's like a free engage and you're going to die, but 3 of the enemy die and it is worth, then okay. But really have a think, is this worth it? Again, I've said to everybody, if the vast majority of ranked player simply doesn't think while they play. If you just do that for a couple weeks and focus in on those deaths, you'll actually probably see that they will tumble and you won't die as much just by making the difference of thinking. And I'm being serious. People have told me it really does work. All right, next one is, if we go up here and then we go wabam. Another North American. So we have an abundance of the Yanks today, so that's fine. Well, we were bronze last season, so there's an improvement. Silver 5 this season, so well done, good sir. We seem to be a bit of a confused ranked player, but not many games, by the way. So even though, 45 games, is there any recent rank? So there is recent rank, so maybe you're just a late coming to ranked in the last month or so. That's fine. You can probably climb a little bit more at the end of the season. So obviously a 3 losses in a row, which obviously it's a bit demoralizing. Maybe you haven't played since then because you're like, oh god. But obviously there is the champion here that I dislike quite a bit. But if you're finding success with a champion, and I've always said this, if you're finding a success with a champion that I actively dislike, screw what I say. If it's working for you, keep doing it. If you are good with Quinn, and it seems you are, your KD's great, your farm's over 200 per game, your win rate 67%, keep her going. Don't listen to me, get that rating. Your Sedge seems great. Again, she's not really meta at the moment, but if you're just good at a champion, again, remember, the lower rating you are, screw meta. Just play whatever you're good at. play. When I say screw meta, I'm not saying play like Teemo AD carry. What that means is play Sejuani jungle, even though she's not very meta jungler right now. Play Quinn top, even though she's never really been meta, apart from a couple like months ago. Play the champs that you just have solid performances on, and you'll climb. It's solo queue. It's not pro play. It's not even Diamond 1. It's just normal solo queue, and that is probably one of the most important lessons I've got to give to people. Focus on yourself more than anything else. No control wards, or very lack of, in most of your games, worth noting, worth pointing out. Kill participation, a little bit on the low side, 42, 25, 33, obviously not very good games there. Even Tryndamere, 31, obviously it's a Tryndamere. So maybe you're a split pusher a bit. Let's look how many games. So again, only 35 games. We should see a very low amount of champions here. Too many champions in 35 games of ranked. In half of your games, practically, maybe just more, you've got different champs. So again, the classic between 11 and 18, why are these games here? Some very bad performances. They shouldn't be there. And, just get rid of those, and your win rate would be a lot better. So again, just that classic mistake that a lot of people make. So if you're watching this and you really want to push for the final month of solo queue, just stick with what you know. Like, hell, just play these 3 champions your last month of ranked. And maybe you could even push for high silver, maybe even gold. Who knows? Because, again, very good performances on Quinn. Very good. So keep playing it. And we'll do one more for this review video today. And again, another Yank. All the Yankees. Yankee Doodles. Again, I know Yanks are normally for New Yorkers that support the Yankees, but still. Let's update that. And so today's been an all-American episode. So we were Silver 5, so there is an improvement. That's awesome. Haven't played Ranked in a bit, but obviously a lot of Warwick. Does seem to be a Warwick one-trick. Again, if that works for you, go for it. Again, I'm not obviously big into one-tricks at all, but I'd say very good control warding happening. In most games, you're buying at least one, if not more. Dark Harvest Warwick is something that I'm not entirely familiar with. I don't think I've ever played Dark Harvest or seen it myself, so I can't actually advise if that's the big thing that people do. If we actually look at, I guess, we'll go on my sponsor and have a little look. Again, you can use the link in any of the videos down below and just see if they recommend it, because I'm a bit unfamiliar. So they're actually not recommending it, so statistically it's not the best thing to do. So that's just worth pointing out. So have a think if that's what you want to do. And again, a lot of people say, but he's a one-trick. He knows what he's doing. Again, it's where the rating comes in. So I'd recommend, usually one-tricks have a little notepad or something of high rating versions of themselves. Have a look at what those people are doing. Maybe you already have, and that's what they do. But look what like a Diamond Warwick does, and, within reason, if they're doing it every game like you are, then it's like, okay, that's just what they do. But if you're seeing the occasional game that they're going press the attack over Dark Harvest, try and find out why. And some bit of advice that I don't think I've ever given in this series before, if you find somebody that you want to, like, not really mimic, but you want to learn from, and you're a champion player, like, I want to learn Warwick, you find a Warwick player. I'm sure op.gg has this feature. Find a Warwick player and just add that player. If they're not a streamer or a YouTuber and they're just like a decent Warwick and they get a friends request, not many people in League just get random friend requests. They'll most likely accept. And if you just be really polite, and obviously, sure, there's toxic people, so you might be like laughed at, ignore that. I'm sure you'll find somebody out there that would be very happy to give you advice if you just find somebody that you're like, damn, that Warwick good. I found him. Let's add him. Oh, he's on my server. I'm sure you'll find somebody, and they can just teach you. I can't teach you the little details of a champion that I don't play that much. They can. And that is obviously a very good thing that one-tricks can do. Be very careful about learning niche playstyles, or niche, whatever pronunciation you make. Again, like if you're an Udyr player, I wouldn't recommend adding, for example, Trick 2G and be like, oh, can you teach me Udyr top? Because again, Udyr top sucks, but he's just a very well-known one-trick and he does it anyway. It's not something that a silver player should do or a gold player should do. He's a challenger tier player. So if it's, go for people that are just playing their standard champion in a standard playstyle, and that's okay. Don't go for the wacky, crazy plays, because those are just one-tricks that just don't do them and they're like very niche in their playstyle. So be careful with that. So it is worth noting that you do seem to be a very much a one-trick, because if you look at your next played, obviously performance-wise, not good at all. Very bad KD with 3.8 to 8.4 with negative win rate. So it's up to you. It's your video game. Do you want to continue being a one-trick? And, you know, if you are going to climb the ranks, you're going to be very much boxing yourself in for probably the rest of the remainder you're playing League. Or do you want to try and experiment a bit more? And again, my recommendation of that, if you are a one-trick watching this video and you're like, I do need to get better at other things, pre-season is coming. We're in the final month of ranked. Keep try-harding, keep trying to climb, get that rank locked in, and as soon as pre-season comes, which will be November the 13th, play anything you want. Your rank is locked in, you'll get your rewards, whatever happened on November the 12th, but you still can play solo queue in an intense, serious environment, but that's where you can start to pick up new things. That's when I'd recommend to learn new things, is pre-season solo queue, because the rank doesn't matter anymore, but the games are still serious. So that's then, soon. So again, there's not the advice that I can give you is the advice that I've given, is try to find somebody who's very good at Warwick, see what they do. Do they go Dark Harvest every game? If not, why don't they? Do they occasionally go press the attack? If so, you should be looking at why they should be doing that and adjusting, because maybe press the attack is good versus squishy comps, but you're going Dark Harvest every game. You know, it's something like that. Could be. But anyway, that's going to be it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, throw a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't. And if you, again, I will say the last episode we did on this, I did say I was going to pick somebody at random from that comment section to be in this episode. I don't have enough time for that today. I really do apologize. But I'll say if you do want to try and get into the next one, put your summon name and the reason why you want to get involved in the comment section, and I will try my utmost to involve you in the next episode. So anyway, like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time. See you.